Roast chicken is a classic for a reason, but I can't say I've ever had one that's actually perfect, except for one of these. Just joking, those things low-key kind of suck. For me, the perfect roast chicken has to have three things: crispy skin, juicy meat, and it's seasoned all the way through. And with a typical roast chicken recipe, where you trust the chicken, you put olive oil on it, salt and pepper, and you roast it, I just don't think you get all those three things. The skin just isn't crispy. The issue is, right, this skin is not the best, but it's kind of crispy at the moment. But what happens is this chicken, while it rests, steams from the inside out. It makes you have soggy skin. But I've got a few tricks up my sleeve that might help us get to the elusive perfect roast chicken. Come with me. Also, thank you to Typhur for sponsoring this video. So we're gonna test a lot of chickens today. We're gonna need multiple ovens. So we're here in the test kitchen. This is Jackson. You've met him before.
Hello.
Hello. We don't let him out of his cage much, so he's a bit awkward on thoughts on chickens.
Love chickens, but especially when they are done right.
Yes. Okay, so the idea is to get a juicy chicken that's seasoned well and has crispy skin. So the two methods I'm gonna test first up are the classic butter under the skin method, very classic French technique, will get us a juicy chicken, should be well seasoned, not sure what it's gonna do to the skin. The second method, mayonnaise on the outside, kind of an American invention, I think. Mayonnaise is just fat, should get crispy skin. What do you think, mate?
See, I love the butter under the skin because you always get like so much flavor from the butter, but my concern is that the milk solids in the butter are gonna cause the skin to go soggy faster. So what I'm kind of thinking is maybe putting some chicken schmaltz or chicken fat underneath the skin, because you should still get the nice chickeny flavor, but you don't have the the milk solids to contend with. And then on the other one, I'm thinking about brushing it with a little bit of a Tare.
Okay.
So you maybe can get a nice seasoned skin, and you should get it nice and crispy as well.
Sugar in your Tare?
Little bit of sugar, but not too much, because we don't want it to burn.
Yeah, both good options. Let's get cooking some chickens. So first thing we're gonna do is make a little compound butter for under the skin of one of my chickens. I've got some unsalted butter here. I always have unsalted butter. You could use salted. And I have some fresh thyme. You can kind of put whatever flavor you want in this butter, honestly. It's quite young thyme, so I'm not even gonna bother or even gonna try and pick it. If you did try and pick it, you'd be here all day. I am just gonna chop it pretty fine. And that goes. Now, you can take this whatever way you want. Rosemary and garlic, you could put some smoked paprika in there, cumin, lots of ways you can take it. We're going thyme and lemon zest. Then, because it's unsalted butter, pinch of salt and white pepper instead of black pepper. The reason is that you just won't get, you won't see it as much with the white pepper. Okay, we're gonna mash all these flavors into this butter really well. This is not, it's almost room temperature. It's probably been out for 2 hours, but it'll get easier the more you mash it. Take our chicken, I'm gonna release the skin from the top of the breast all the way down. Get that butter in there, and then press it so it's evenly across the whole breast. I've only used half the butter. Now I'm gonna truss it, and we get more butter on the legs, and anything left across the top. And the extra butter there is obviously gonna melt pretty quickly, but it's just to try and give that skin some chance of having some fat over the top of it. It'll melt and drip over the whole thing. That's the idea anyway. All right, mayonnaise version. We're gonna season the cavity. Actually, and then we're gonna truss it next. And then we'll just use the mayonnaise like we would olive oil on the first one that we made today. Shush. All right, we're gonna generously, this is gonna get a little bit grubby. We're gonna generously put mayonnaise all over our chicken. This feels kind of wrong if I'm perfectly honest. I feel like Gocher right now. Make sure you get the bum. Season it with salt. All right, I'm gonna insert a probe into each of these. Dunk, dunk, to the oven. So for this video, I've been using this little gadget from the sponsor of this video, Typhur. This is the Sync Gold series. It's a wireless probe system that works in pretty much anything you'd cook with. The smoker, the grill, oven, deep fry, air fryer, even in a sous vide. Each probe has got 6 sensors, 5 internal and 1 ambient, and it automatically finds the lowest internal temp. That matters because fat, muscle, and connective tissue all sit at different temperatures. So one sensor on its own isn't really going to give you the full picture. They're rated to 500 degrees and IPX8 waterproof too, so you don't have to stress. It all charges in the smart base. 5 minutes gets you 2 hours of cook time. You can check temps and set targets straight off the base without even touching your phone. And there's an algorithm that predicts when your food is done and pings you. And if you want the full readout, the Typhur app shows all 6 sensors at once. And because it runs on a sub 1G connection that bridges through Wi-Fi, the range is basically unlimited. So I can check how my cook's going on the golf course. The link's in the description and use my code for an extra 10% off. You can also get early access to the Prime Day deal right now, which is the lowest price of the year. Now let's go see how that chicken's going. So for all these cooks, we're gonna set our oven to 230 degrees Celsius. That's this many Fahrenheit. We think it's better off to start at a really hot temperature, and then after about 30 minutes, turn the temperature down to cook the rest of the meat. I think that initial burst of heat really helps with the skin. Over to you, Jackson.
Thanks, Andy.
It's all right, Jackson, I'm here.
Oh, wow, where'd you come from?
Just over there.
Right, yeah, sure.
Right, what are we doing, mate?
We're gonna make tare. So tare is like a traditional Japanese dipping sauce. It's also used to glaze types of meat on hibachis.
Yep.
And today we're gonna use it for our chicken skin.
All right, tare, what goes in it, mate?
All right, so we've got some chicken stock, a little bit of brown sugar, soy sauce, mirin, and sake.
All right, I'm gonna trust your chicken for the tare. What are you gonna do with your other one?
While that's working, I'm gonna stuff this with some chicken schmaltz. So we're gonna lift up chicken skin.
Now, chicken schmaltz is an interesting ingredient in Australia because we don't really use it heaps, but you can get it in butchers nowadays, and I think it's delicious.
It's quite commonplace for people to do like caramelize it with lots of shallots and then use it as like a spread. It's pretty delicious. It's literally just rendered chicken fat.
Do you reckon we need to season this as well, this bird, or is there enough salt and tare?
I think we should probably season it a little bit on the inside.
Probably would have helped if you told me that before I trusted chef.
So sure.
That's all right. This is how a real chef has his salt, just in a mixing bowl.
What one do you reckon is going to look the best?
I reckon the tare will look the best.
Yeah.
I reckon the schmaltz will taste the best.
What about from your ones?
Oh, I reckon the mayonnaise will look the best and the butter will taste the best. But I don't know if any of these are going to give us crispy skin, if I'm honest.
Putting mayonnaise on a chicken is a crazy idea.
It is a crazy idea. Comes from a crazy place. All right, do you want to lather up your tare chicken, chef?
Let's do it. I actually think it's probably better if we hit it in the oven first and then tare it.
Ah, okay. So start cooking it.
Yeah.
And then halfway through, start basting it.
I think that's the idea.
So this chicken schmaltz that I'm trussing now, we're just going to season it with salt.
Yes.
All right, season her up. What temperature is your oven at, chef?
Temperature's at 230 degrees.
Celsius or Fahrenheit?
Celsius, which is right here. I'm just going to put a little bit of olive oil on this one here and get it rubbed in so it kind of gets a head start on the roast. Finish it with the tare so it doesn't burn.
And salt? Surely.
And a tiny bit of salt. Yeah.
Tiny bit.
There is soy sauce in here which is salty, so not too much.
Done. Get them in the oven, chef.
Beauty.
So there you go. Good color on both the birds. This one looks strange, the mayonnaise one, but the skin's not perfect on either of them. But let's let it rest and see what happens. Jackson, you burnt the chicken.
Sorry, who put the tare on there? And missed a massive spot.
That was my bad. But very interesting at obviously the sugar levels in here with the oven being so hot has caused this, we'll call it what it is, burning to happen.
You just don't know until you try it, right?
That's it.
No, it looks terrible. But
This looks fantastic though.
that looks great.
Great color. It's like almost blistering. It's gotten so hot. You can see it's quite crispy on the side here and the legs.
And for you, you've got your butter and your mayonnaise chicken. These two look great.
I think this looks good.
Yeah.
I think this looks weird. And the skin's done this well, I see what's happened, right, is that the mayonnaise has kind of like solidified on the top, which is where the color is. It's not actually on the skin, which is super interesting. Let's let these rest for a little bit, then we'll eat some meat. Weird. Right, mate, we're gonna start at this end, I think, with the mayonnaise, which I am not very hopeful for.
Yes.
Skin's terrible.
Skin's terrible. It's a little bit dry. It kind of like, it goes like really salty and kind of dry, but the meat doesn't taste like very seasoned.
Yeah, it's dry, it's not seasoned correctly, and the skin's terrible. I reckon we can wipe that one off the list.
Yeah.
Let's try your tare. Skin's crispy, but not in a good way. Clearly burnt, so we'll try and ignore that bitterness that we're getting from the burnt, but even still, the skin's kind of got a weird shattery texture to it. Bird's not seasoned very well, but it's not as dry as the mayonnaise.
It's not as dry. There's no saving that though.
Butter under the skin. Not as dry, but still not perfect. It's seasoned reasonably well, but the skin still not there, is it?
Yeah, so for me that kind of ticks two of the boxes. Like it's pretty juicy, it's pretty well seasoned, but that skin's not crispy. And for me, the herbs kind of overpower the flavor of the chicken a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you kind of lose some of the roast that you like want to keep intact. So
yeah, the one that looks the best by far, the one that was covered in chicken fat. The seasoning is pretty good. It tastes like a roast chicken. It tastes really, really good. It's reasonably juicy. Not the juiciest chicken I've had, but it's reasonably juicy. And the skin's the best we've had, but it's not up perfect, is it?
yeah, I mean the skin's not exactly crispy as you can see here once it's rested, but it does have like the best kind of mild reaction. It does have the best like color on the outside. For me, that's probably my favorite of the 4 so far.
I agree. You know, what's happening here, right? It was a big bird, it's really hot. When this came out of the oven, the skin was really nice and crispy. We showed that before. It's steaming from the inside out, which is making the skin go, you know, kind of soft and not as crispy as it should be. So, all right, mate, I don't know what we're gonna do about the skin, but for now, let's just focus on getting the seasoning right and getting it nice and juicy. So do you want to go brine a couple of chickens and we'll revisit it tomorrow?
All right, I'll get onto that now.
All right, I'm gonna go to bed. So for the wet brine, Jackson made a 5% salt wet brine. He brought the water up to a boil before adding the salt and stirring until it dissolved. Then he added the bay leaf, garlic, peppercorns, rosemary, and lemon peel. And then he added ice to cool the liquid down completely. Then he put the brine in the fridge for 30 minutes to make sure it was well under 5 degrees Celsius before adding the chicken and leaving it in there overnight. Then for the dry brine, simply remove your chicken from the packet and dry it really well. Season it all over with salt, put it on a tray on top of a rack and into the fridge uncovered overnight. So what's happening when we're brining things? You can brine any meat really. All that's happening is, ooh, sounds awful, is that meat is porous, right? It's got lots of tiny little holes in it. And by adding salt to it in 2 different ways, you're getting that brine, that salt solution to penetrate deep into the muscle. In the dry brine scenario, what's happening is the salt sits on the surface, it turns into liquid or water that gets absorbed into the meat all the way through. So for the wet brine, the whole bird's just being submerged in the brine, and overnight the pores are opening up and it's absorbing that salty kind of water. The benefits to the air dry is that you're not absorbing any extra water into the bird. That could also be a negative, it just depends. So the positive is that it usually stays a little bit juicier. The negative is that you usually get a better skin when you dry brine something. So it will be really interesting to taste these side by side. All I'm gonna do now is pat them really dry, then I'm gonna put a little bit of oil on both of them, truss them, and into a 230-degree oven for 25 minutes. Then I'll turn it to 200 degrees until they reach an internal temperature of 59. We'll pull it out and rest it. While it's resting, it should reach an internal temperature of like 66 degrees, no problem at all. I mean, a vast difference in the color, and it's clear to see why. Like, this is the one that was wet brine, this is dry brined, and I think just the, you know, soaking a piece of meat in a water when you say it like that just feels very weird. I don't know why we do it.
It's a Mormon thing.
It's a Mormon thing. Well, unsurprisingly, not only has the wet brine failed us on color, but the skin has gone soft. But we'll taste it anyway to see if we have conquered the seasoning and the juiciness. So this is the wet brine. Wow, like noticeably juicier.
Like it brings out the flavor of chicken. Like it sounds weird to say, but it tastes so much more like chicken than the other ones do.
And it's just like, you don't get any of that dry chalkiness at all, and seasoned beautifully, but the skin's terrible.
But the skin's, yeah.
So let's try the dry brine. Even though the skin looks a lot better, is it actually gonna eat better? And is the meat gonna be as juicy?
As juicy as the brine, yeah.
Tastes a lot different, doesn't it?
It does. It doesn't have the same flavor as the brine does. Like,
No.
obviously you don't have the aromats and everything in there, but the meat is like definitely seasoned all the way through.
The skin, you know, you can get your teeth through it very easily. There's no like rubberiness, and there's no like, when you eat that, you kind of feel like you're eating chicken skin.
Yeah, it feels like almost too soft in this one.
Honestly, I think because of the juiciness of the meat and the well seasoned, I think I'd prefer to eat that.
Yeah.
Well, because the skin's still not perfect, right? Like,
I still don't think either of them are perfect.
I agree.
There's pros and cons in both, right?
Look, I've got an idea. I'm not proud to admit it.
Tell me.
Air fryer.
Okay.
All right, it's come to this. You're making me do it. And annoyingly, it's probably gonna work pretty well. We'll see. I hate that I'm being replaced by an air fryer. Not gonna lie, that looks pretty good. Skin's nice and crispy now, but let's see what happens once it rests. All right, Jackson,
Oui.
do we have a taste?
Let's do it.
What do you think? Oh, it's soft.
kind of uneven color as well. Hey?
Uneven, very intense right here, and that comes from the fact that the temperature or the big hot air, blast of hot air comes from the top. Yeah, and then you look at the sides, very kind of pale in comparison. But let's see what it tastes like. Actually pretty juicy.
It's better than I expected it was going to be.
If you didn't have an oven and you wanted a roast chicken, you want something that's on the countertop, that's going to do a pretty good job. But it's the same as an oven, right? The issue can't be solved by a piece of technology, I don't think. To be fair, it's pretty juicy. And the skin's got okay color. Like we talked about, it's uneven, but it's not crispy at all. At this point, I feel like we've tried every trick under the sun.
It does seem like it.
There's only one thing left to do.
What's that?
You know what it is, chef.
Spatchcock?
Right, this technique works for a lot of reasons, and I'll dive into it more in a second, but let me show you first how we get there. So a chicken anatomy is pretty simple. We have the two breasts, the two legs at the bottom. If you flip it over, you usually have your wings tucked behind, and then you have the backbone that runs right up the center, right at the back. With spatchcock, we remove the backbone, and the reason we do that is so we can get it a lot flatter. So how do we remove the backbone? You can do it two ways. You can do it with a knife, but honestly, it's way easier with a good set of kitchen shears. Up each side of the backbone as close as we can to it. If we get any further down, you're gonna start cutting into the meat of the leg. So run your shears all the way up. It won't be easy, but it shouldn't be hard either, if that makes sense. You're kind of trying to cut between like the rib cage and stuff like that. So all the way up, all the way through to the neck, and just be careful because your scissor ends are gonna pop out. There you go, like that. So that's one side done. Now we'll go up the other side. There you go, that's the whole backbone, gonski. Now, what do you do with that? Well, truth be told, not much really, unless you've got a whole bunch of chicken bones that you're saving for stock, or, I mean, you're not gonna just turn that into stock. So you probably take this here, this is like the kidney and liver and stuff, and that's the heart. Pull that out, feed that to your dog. Okay, so, split that open. Now, you can be fancy or you can not be fancy at this point. I like to be fancy, and I just like to take the rib cage out here. Now, the only thing is it just makes it easier to eat or kind of carve it. So you'll just run your blade up those kind of where the ribs meet the rest of the carcass, and then using a blade, just run them up near the rib cage just to remove it. I just find it's easier to do it now rather than once it's cooked. Interestingly, the word spatchcock also means a young bird in a lot of countries. So some people might be like, a spatchcock? That's not a spatchcock. Don't give these to your dog because they're very sharp and it'll probably cut them. Cut your esophagus, wouldn't it, duck? No one wants a cut esophagus. Now we're just gonna wipe the inside of this carcass dry. Why? Because moisture is the enemy of color and flavor. Flip your bird over, and we're just gonna just do a bit of CPR. Put your hand in the middle of the sternum and give it a good old-fashioned crack. Now it's sitting a lot flatter. That's what we're after. We're just gonna season the underside. So you better be quiet or you'll end up in the oven. Big old crow just landed on the roof. Careful, duck, it'll take you away. So just drizzle with a little bit of oil and then season with salt. Flip it over onto a tray with a rack. We'll season the top side. So why do we do this? Well, what's gonna happen is it's gonna cook a lot faster. So we can cook nice and hot and nice and quickly. The other thing that this helps is the skin, because the reason our skin goes soggy after we roast it in a whole chicken is because of that steam that builds up on the inside. We've eliminated that problem by taking the inside out. That doesn't make sense, but also does. To the oven, 220 degrees for 15 minutes. Then we'll turn it down to 200 until we reach an internal temperature of 59. We'll pull it out. It'll rest until it reaches 65, 66, no problem at all. Why are you running away from me? Not that close.
Oh, sorry.
Well, it's stayed crispy, even though we can see the fat that's rendered underneath the skin.
Ooh.
Look at that. You sick of chicken yet?
Nah, I need the 6 chicken.
All right, looks juicy.
That's kind of hitting the mark on all of the things we're looking for, right? Like seasoned most of the way through, maybe not all the way through, but it's crispy and it's definitely juicy.
But is it a roast chicken? I'm not so sure, mate.
So does the perfect roast chicken exist?
If it does, not sure I've found it yet. Well, legends, thanks so much for watching. As always, like the video if you've taken anything from it, subscribe if you're not. Huge thank you to Typhur for sponsoring this video. And thanks for Jackson for showing up to work. And we'll see you next week for another video. Cheers.
Cheers.
To roast chicken. It's pretty good. It's not a roast chicken though.